Welcome to Dutchess Stadium. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. We're having our town hall live at one of our great Dutchess County parks, and today we're going to talk a little bit about county parks. But before we do, of course, wanted to talk a little bit about the Hudson Valley Renegades. So let's jump in, though, first to some of our data points on the dashboard, just so you know where we are. And then I'll like to give you an update on what was announced from the state. And then introduce my guest and my guest, our partner here at the table. So first and foremost, I think we are now monitoring 521 active cases. We've been about 500 now for a week. This is considerably lower than where we were 2 months ago, and we're thankful. All of the data points, and I remind people that these data points are human lives. They're our friends and they're our neighbors. But they're all trending in the right direction, and we're now at 521 active cases, 31 individuals hospitalized, and we have a positivity rate of 2.14%. So the 7-day rolling average, 2.14%. That is about a third of what it was only a couple weeks ago. Everything moving in the right direction. And what I've said before is, for months we were saying we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We are through the tunnel. The truth is we are through the tunnel, which is one of the things that you should note. We both have been vaccinated. We're outside. No need for wearing a mask. And so here we are outdoors taking in the fresh air. Nothing better than fresh air and some sunlight, although we're not getting the sunlight today.
We're getting there.
We're going to be there. I'm joined this afternoon by Steve Gleiner. Steve is the general manager and something else, president.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
Of the Hudson Valley Renegades. So for nearly 30 years, Dutchess County has been the home to the Hudson Valley Renegades, our own minor league baseball team. It's important. The affiliation with minor league and a minor league team is important, but it's never been more exciting or more important than it is now. The Renegades, of course, are the newest New York Yankees affiliate. And Steve, you're the proud general manager and president. So today, you might know, and of course you know because your head's spinning. The state of New York announced some new guidance for stadiums like ours. And what the governor has basically said is if you're fully vaccinated, there's no capacity limitations. If you're not vaccinated, then it's 33% capacity. We're waiting to figure out how that works. I'm not a fan of having half the stadium full and the other half being booed at. So we'll figure out what that means practically and make it work here at Dutchess County with Dutchess Stadium and our Department of Health. So more than likely there'll be increased capacity. But as importantly, the state is also eliminating the requirement that you test negative before coming to a ball game. So no testing requirement any longer. We had worked out a pretty decent strategy. This was the county's proposal, was basically when you buy the ticket, you're affirming that you met the standard. We don't like the concept of checking people in at the gate. You didn't want to have that hassle, and it's a bit of an infringement on folks. So initially that was going to be our approach, but the state has lifted the testing requirement. We'll figure out how to make capacity a little bit greater, and we'll work our way through it. But you all have put together a series of safety precautions that I think is stellar. But people are going to have a fun time at Dutchess Stadium. So why don't you tell us a little bit about first what are the fans going to experience when they get through the gates? What should they be prepared for, both from safety and then general fun?
Well, first, thanks for having me on. And this is exciting. We played our first game last night down in Lakewood, New Jersey, with the Jersey Shore Blue Claws, as a Yankees affiliation. So it's our first game was last night. We didn't win, unfortunately, but we're now officially a Yankees farm club, and that's really exciting. I was fortunate to start my career a few years ago up in Albany, where the Yankees used to have their AA affiliation there, and that's where I started my baseball career. So I've come a little full circle when it comes to the affiliation thing. Yeah, really exciting to be a Yankees affiliate, and our fans are equally excited. We've heard from so many people throughout the last 5 or 6 months since this was initially announced, and the excitement is through the roof, and of course now we just need to get past the restrictions that we're within, but we're getting there, and it's exciting, and of course this announcement just came down a few hours ago, I guess.
Yeah,
so
we
haven't even been able to absorb this and what it all means.
I don't want anyone. So it's a county park, but of course we lease it in partnership to the Renegades. So as
right.
the folks that manage the facility, and you have a responsibility to minor league and major league baseball
Correct.
until they figure out what the guidance is for them. you're not able to necessarily announce any changes, other than I think I'm safe in saying, because we've gotten affirmed, the requirement for testing not any longer necessary. So at the very least, some modest adjustment that I think it's a big adjustment, and then you'll work it out and announce to fans what the next steps are once minor league baseball gives you the green light.
Right, and that need was really New York State. I don't think there's any other state where that was required at stadiums or arenas. So it's really good to hear that, and we've probably gotten more questions about that than anything else regarding our season. So with that going away, I think that's going to really make things a little bit more simplified. I think people are going to be very happy to not have to worry about that.
Yeah, and you've been dealing with the general managers from teams across the state. The counties like ours really band together and encourage the state to eliminate that requirement. That was going to be really prohibitive for folks, and this, of course, is a good step forward for all of us.
It's a great step forward, and with the probably the biggest thing is here, for those of you who've been out to games before, we're very family centric, and with children not being able to be vaccinated beyond a certain below a certain age, and how is that going to work? And so I think that was probably one of the biggest questions we ran into. So with this being lifted, that's tremendous for us. And so we're excited about that. And so here we go. May 11th, the day after my birthday. So on my birthday on May 10th, I'm going to be a little busy.
It's the day before my son Jack's birthday. His May the 12th. So he's
good to be a Taurus.
He'd like a win.
We'll see what we could do. But with our first home game in over 600 days, it's been a long time. And I think for all of us who work in this business, yesterday was a really neat day to be on social media and kind of see all the ballparks talking about opening up and welcoming their fans back. And, we just can't wait. I mean, May 11th can't get here fast enough. We still have some work to do here, but, from a perspective of just being excited to open the gates and get people in this ballpark again, it can't come soon enough. And so
let's talk a little bit about some of the upgrades. Now, if you didn't get here in the second half of 2019, then you didn't get to see the new seating, some of the upgrades to the facility. But, conveniently, I don't know if we planned this, but the seating upgrade in 2019 looks a lot like the New York Yankees colors that are now the 2021.
Just lucky.
Yeah, we were fortunate. Could you imagine if we had missed out? So we had the new seating upgrades, beautiful fan experience. When you get here, the parking lot's been totally paved. I know that you're very excited about that. Upgrades to the lighting in the parking lots, too. We're excited as part of the county's commitment to the Renegades in bringing the Yankees affiliate here. We also have committed to some upgrades on the field, and when fans get here on May the 11th, I suspect they'll be here late enough to see the new lights.
Exactly.
So why don't you talk a little bit about that lighting upgrade?
So the lights that we had here at Dutchess Stadium were from 1994. They were original lighting, with the exception of changing some light bulbs here and there. But the standards have changed over time, and from a safety perspective, for the players on the field, and really even for fans in the stands, the new lighting that's here now is exceptionally better than what we had. It's the right levels for what Major League Baseball asks for facilities like ours, and as we've talked about, we're fortunate to have an affiliation, especially with the Yankees, but to have an affiliation. There's a lot of teams that were in the New York Penn League that didn't get to keep affiliated baseball in their markets, so we were fortunate to be able to do that, and part of that is some of the upgrades that are necessary as we are entering a 10-year initial agreement with Major League Baseball and the Yankees. So these are important improvements, but they're going to benefit the stadium in a lot of ways.
Right, and so I know we get questions a lot, like concessions. Mm-hmm. What's the fan experience going to be like there?
Well, the fan experience, Mark, as you know, it's really important to us, and it's a big deal to keep it as familiar as possible, which is hard, to try to keep things the way everybody's used to them for the times that we're going through right now. So one of the first things that we did was we came up with the idea, because we're not able to do things on the field. And I should explain, there are certain protocols that MLB has in place, and then there's certain protocols that the state had in place. So, we're basically working with those two factions and trying to make sure we cover all the bases, so to speak. So MLB, we're not able to put anybody on the field this year. We're trying to keep the players in their own somewhat bubble, if you will, so that we can keep the games going. Some of you may recall last year during the MLB season, there were times where some teams had to stop play for a week, as some players may have tested positive. Of course, that's a while back. Things are getting better. They got through an entire spring training pretty much unscathed, and I think they're a lot more knowledgeable on how to go about that. But for all of us here, we're working really hard to keep the players safe, and the fans safe too, of course. But So we will not be able to do anything on the field as we are normally.
I'm
accustomed
devastated
to do.
because I won't be able to throw out the first pitch.
But we have a plan for that.
Well, I don't throw out the first pitch anyway. My son does,
Right.
but yeah.
It's always good to have a designated thrower.
Definitely. In my line of work, you want somebody who can actually throw the ball.
So we have decided to take what is our previous location for Playland, which unfortunately we can't really do our usual slides and bounce houses for obvious reasons. But we're going to turn that into our promo zone. So socially distant spacing out there where we can have a lot of our familiar games with people that came together as a family or a group in their own little pods, which is a term that we've gotten very used to around here with the seating.
Yeah.
And so we're going to do that out there. We're going to do first pitches out there. We're going to do anthems out there. And
Speeches.
Speeches. So I hope you've been practicing,
I have.
like you need it. And I never want to follow you in a speech ever, so I'm putting that out there right now.
Fair enough.
And of course, we'll put it all up on our video board, which may be behind us. Yes, it is actually. So, or maybe covered up.
It'll be there.
I'm not sure, but in any event, so we'll be able to keep that experience, especially for people coming out to the ballpark, that they could, see those types of games that we do, and that fan experience is very important. You mentioned food and beverage.
Well, because the question is my hot dog going to cost more money, and will my beer be more expensive?
No.
Right.
Nope. We really worked hard to keep all that as close to where we've been as possible, and I think people are going to come out and see familiar pricing, even on the ticket side. And that's part of what minor league baseball is. We try to keep it affordable. Obviously, times are changing, and it's a little bit of a struggle, but we do the best we can with that. And I still think that everybody's going to find that when you come out to Dutchess Stadium for a Renegades game, it's an affordable experience and an enjoyable one too. And trying to keep it as familiar as possible.
I'm glad for that. So right now, the folks listening don't hear a lot of the noise, but we do. There's a lot of work underway. So the County Parks Division has been doing some cleanup and some maintenance work here. It's of course the county park. You have some vendors that are doing some washing and what have you, and they're also doing some checking of the cameras.
Right.
And those are some upgrades this year too. No.
Yeah, those cameras are being put in from the Yankees level, and that's so they're able to assess the players and their skill sets and help them become better ball players. So that there's technology is amazing. I mean, the technology that's changed in so many ways, but especially in professional sports that they can utilize now, and they could literally break a swing down or a pitching motion down. To the exact science, and so that's part of some of the upgrades that the Yankees are putting in. Right
and if you can't buy the ticket because you just haven't gotten around to get to the stadium, if you wanted to listen to a ball game, there's now a relationship with local radio.
Yeah, we're going to be on Z93 this year on the radio with our friends at iHeartMedia, and we're also going to be streaming our games video at MILB.TV. Or at hvrenegades.com. That's at a nominal fee. It's really affordable, actually. And also our audio stream, if you can't get it on the radio, you can get it on your device as well. So at hvrenegades.com or at MILB, the app. It's the Android or the other store.
Or the other one. So you got it, the Apple Store.
Yeah.
So we're very excited. I mean, you know that I love Dutchess Stadium, and I love the when families get here and the memories folks make. So we're very excited to welcome the Renegades back in a week home, safe at home. Mm-hmm. So if fans want to buy tickets, where do they go?
hvrenegades.com. That's the best place. You can see the seating manifest, what's available. You can actually see how the pod seating is going to work. So we have all of our seating set up in pods of anywhere from 2 to, I believe, up to 6 tickets, just depending on availability at this point. And you can see how it's all socially distanced and spaced within each of the sections.
Yeah.
And until we, as we have to continue to do seating that way, that's how it'll be set up. But you'll be able to see what seats are available, and you can pick your seats based on what remains.
Okay. Website again?
hvrenegades.com.
Okay, so Sean's going to show that lighting show again, just because what I want to mention is that, as you said, the lighting is cool. We can make it do things, but it's LED lighting, more efficient, more cost effective for us. And having been here many times, yes, you don't have to turn it on and let the light bulbs warm up, which is probably very helpful to interns, because what I understand is that interns get yelled at if the lights aren't turned on in time, because why would we blame somebody else?
I get yelled at.
You get yelled at. So this allows you to flip the switch, turn it on or turn it off, and then do some cool things like light shows that you're actually going to have during the season. Yeah. The other I want to tell folks and Dutchess County residents is thanks to the Department of Public Works, led by Bob Balkind, our commissioner, and of course the Parks Division, we got this project done on time and $250,000 under budget, which we're very thrilled about. And because we were able to save the $250,000, we're actually asking the legislature to advance moving forward on the batting cage upgrades, which we want to get to. It's up to them, but with $250,000 in savings, we're not adding to the total project cost. It's a next step that makes sense for us. Modest improvement that'll benefit the players and of course for all of us, just enhance the facility. So with that $250,000 savings, I think we're going to ask them to spend only about $120,000 of that, or $150,000 of that, which again already programmed. I just need the legislature to say yes, and if they do, we'll be able to make the enhancements to the batting cages next. So we're looking forward to it.
Phenomenal.
Okay, we'll see you. We'll see you at the Dutch in a week.
We're ready.
Happy birthday.
Hey, thank you.
In a week.
And to Jack too.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm going to let you escape, and I'm going to start answering some questions as we do that. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
So Monica asks when. No, I'm fine. Monica asks, when will Wappinger be back to 5 full days? And other schools. Arlene's asked about that too. Keep in mind, school scheduling is not up to Dutchess County. Every school can be back 5 days a week if they want. They're establishing what works best for them. Most of the school districts in Dutchess are back 4 days a week with 1 day for cleaning. That's on them. We've advised, and the state has certainly permitted, that school districts could be back 5 days a week. They could be back to a traditional schedule. But if you want to find out what your school district's doing or why they aren't doing something you want, you really need to speak to the superintendent and the school board of trustees. But in the case of the county, there's no prohibition, in the state, there's no prohibition on returning. It's just a matter of making the schedules work for them. And again, in a school setting, the strict social distancing requirement had been lifted some months ago. We've been working with school districts, provide them that information, and it really is up to them. Is it ICES? ICES has asked the question, what are plans for getting more vaccine pop-ups in the city of Poughkeepsie, etc. For those who can't get transportation, we need to get in the heart of the city of Poughkeepsie and communities of color. Great question. As you know, you're a member of the Vaccine Outreach Coalition. We're putting a lot of emphasis on your work too, which is to identify locations in communities where we can set up more strategic pop-up clinics. Today, we were in the city of Beacon again. I think we're doing another 80 doses in the city of Beacon. We're going to be at a church in the city of Poughkeepsie coming up soon that focuses a faith-based community that's Latino, Latina, and we are working constantly on more pop-ups. So you're going to see them more. We were at the Poughkeepsie City School District High School a couple weeks ago. Sun River Health Clinic continues to have pop-up in clinics in the city in partnership with Family Partnership Center and others. And as now that the Johnson & Johnson doses are usable again, remember they were paused for a solid week, which really delayed our ability to have some of these pop-up clinics. We're going to continue to do those. So based on our scheduling, let's do some of the vaccine metrics while we have it. 143,349 Dutchess County residents have received at least one dose. That puts us at 49%, 49 or 48.8. So 49% of Dutchess County's population has received their first dose. 38% have completed their entire series. That's 111,000 residents, and you can see some of that data here. If you only focus on those who were qualified and eligible, that puts us at nearly 60% having received their first dose. Very important. So about 58.3% have received their first dose. 45.2 have completed their entire vaccine series. Our clinics, as I mentioned, are going to be adapting have been over the last few weeks, adapting over the next several weeks. We still have our fixed clinics at the JCPenney's in Poughkeepsie and the CVS site in Dover. We have a series of pop-up clinics going on. Today, as I said, we're in the city of Beacon. On Friday, we're in the village of Millerton. In the town of Beekman on May the 12th. We're partnering, in fact, today with Pfizer Doses at Ketchum High School. And that is with our friend Dr. Smoller, who's been putting together a series of clinics. Very grateful there. State-run clinics, of course, now all have walk-in available as well. And we continue to partner with area physicians and doctors' offices. I do want to say that we do believe that if not by the end of this week, early next week, we believe the FDA is going to approve access for Pfizer doses for children between the ages of 12 and 15. Now, Dutchess County government does not receive the Pfizer doses. We get Moderna and Johnson & Johnson. There are, however, other partners, and we will be working with them. We'll be putting in a request for Pfizer doses. When it comes to children, our health department firmly believes that the most appropriate way to do that is to partner with area pediatricians. So we're working with the largest pediatric groups in Dutchess County now. Our expectation is that we will share, or they will secure Pfizer doses, and they will open up their clinics to any child in Dutchess County between 12 and 15. There'll be some more information about that next week, and we'll start talking a little bit more about that. For those who don't have access to a physician, again, these particular doctor's offices will open up to any Dutchess County child with parental approval and participation, and we're likely to have some access at our traditional health clinics. We want to be very sensitive when it comes to giving vaccines to young people, and we believe that a doctor's office or a physician's facility is the safest way to do that, which is why we're partnering with the largest of our pediatric groups in Dutchess, and you should be looking for that as well. Maureen, how can students not get a traditional graduation but they can go to a baseball game? Well, they can get a traditional graduation. In fact, there is no strict prohibition on graduations this year as there were last year. There's some guidance that the state has offered, which is basically groups of over 500. Well, let's put this differently. What we've advised is a traditional graduation is fine. When there are people in close proximity to one another, they should continue to wear masks if they're in close proximity to one another for extended period of time. And that capacity in an outdoor venue is really limited only by the space of the venue. So that is permitted. And keep in mind, it's not that they can just go to a ball game. There's restrictions here too. The state still has guidance, and Major League Baseball still has guidance that are similar, in fact, to the graduation. But we've advised, and districts are moving forward with their plans to have as traditional a graduation ceremony as possible. Joni, when will New York State open day-hab facilities full-time? New York State does not prohibit day-hab facilities from being open full-time. It's really a decision that the providers have to coordinate for the safety of their participants. And they may be hesitant if there are those that have been vaccinated and those have been vaccinated because this population has been impacted more harshly by COVID. I'm sure they're taking some safety precautions, but there is no outright prohibition on day-hab functioning at full-time. That's really up to the organizations working with OPWDD, the Office of People with Developmental Disabilities. Amy, will vaccines become mandatory for children like you? I hope not. I don't know. The state has not said that that's an expectation. And basically, based on what we know, by simply choosing to be vaccinated, we're going to be closing in on 60% of Dutchess County's population that have been vaccinated. There will be others who will choose to be vaccinated over time. We think that that's safe and likely. As we've said before, Dr. Wythian has offered, our Commissioner of Health and Infectious Disease Doctor has offered, it's likely that this shot will become annualized, and you can choose to do that just like you do the flu shot. But I do think what we have learned, most importantly, over these last 14 months is, first of all, a healthy immune system, sunlight, being outdoors, very, very important, keeps us healthier. Also, we should be more sensitive about our health. How many times do we send our kids in with a runny nose and a little bit of a cold or a fever? I'm sure there are people who do that out of necessity and some who do it out of choice. We're just going to have to be a little more sensitive to that and be respectful of other people's health. But the state has not said that they are mandating vaccines for children, and I join you in hoping that is not the expectation by the state of New York. So we're going to continue to do outreach, as we've said. We're reaching out to communities all across Dutchess County. We're continuing to have our clinics. We may do a clinic right here at the stadium. So you're going to see that kind of strategic change to get small batches of vaccinations done at your choice. We hope you choose to do that. I've been vaccinated, and I think we want you ultimately to choose to do that. And if you have questions, you should reach out to your medical professional, your doctor, your healthcare professional. And of course, you can always ask your questions to us, and we'll try to get you answers through the Department of Behavioral and Community Health. With that, we're at a Dutchess County Park. I'm going to invite I would have said some time ago, the new Director of Parks, but our Director of Parks, Sandy Washburn. Sandy was the Recreation Director for the town of LaGrange, correct? That's the official title?
That is correct.
Now I'm going to explain. Are you comfortable with me telling folks why you're wearing a mask?
Yes, sir.
You're wearing a mask because you've not yet been vaccinated, and for your health, you've chosen to keep your mask on. We're outdoors, and that's clean. That's clear. That's your decision, and we're good about that. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
We have really invested a lot of time and energy in parks, but you have taken us and your team and the folks at the Department of Public Works Park Division have really taken us to the next level. I know we were doing some activities at Bowdoin last week. You've got a lot going on. Rather than me steal your thunder, why don't you tell us what's new at a Dutchess County Park?
Well, first of all, Marcus, thank you so much for being here today. What a wonderful opportunity to spotlight one of our beautiful Dutchess County parks, and no better place to start than here at Dutchess Stadium. So we're gearing up, certainly, as you alluded to before. The entire team is working feverishly right now with a lot of cooperating partners. I can't say enough about our DPW Buildings Division, daily partnering to get us ready. So, but with that said, beyond Dutchess Stadium, we have activities going on in every park right now, and we are excited about that. With the assistance and great vision and leadership of our Assistant Director, Sue O'Neill, we have been bringing programs and art, music to all of the parks. So we started off our spring season. As you know, you were there to share in that celebration with us at the rededication of our chapel at Bowdoin Park. And we kicked that off with our
LSD.
LSD.
Named after the families that
Yes.
founded the church.
Yes, it's such an awkward thing to say in relation to a chapel, and I'm glad you kind of broke that ice.
Little
You
did they
see
know
that?
they were naming it after a hallucinogenic drug.
Absolutely. And you can see it in my eyes. I said it to you that day.
LSD.
Do I have to say that? So, but we're proud of that chapel. It has a wonderful history. Has traveled to so many locations and has landed at the entrance to our park, and it really is just a beautiful, majestic sight when you come into Bowdoin. So we're celebrating the interior renovation and a beautiful new paint job inside, with a couple of different activities. Coming up starting this Saturday is our Spring Chapel Days. It's similar to the holiday prelude that we did leading up to the holidays in December. So we have 3 weekends scheduled. We wanted to really spotlight our local musicians and music groups who have not been able to get their music out into the public. So we are happy that this weekend, Northern Dutchess Symphony Orchestra.
They're great.
They
I mean,
are
you've
great.
got a lot of good guests, but really great.
Do.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're going to kick off it's going to be a 3-week series starting this Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. You can stroll the grounds. You can hear the music piped beautifully out into the landscape. And the chapel will be open for people to walk in. You know, we just ask small groups. There will be signage posted to go inside and take a look at what we have.
So where
done
will they
inside.
actually be performing?
It's a recorded
It's a recording.
performance.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So I want to be clear.
Yes.
So you're not going to see them out there
Not
playing.
going to see them.
Okay.
No, not yet. We're teasing you a little with plans
Yeah.
we have down the road, but
Okay.
we'll be sharing their recordings, and they have worked beautifully in partnership with us to do that.
Great.
So that starts our chapel days. At
May
Bowdoin.
15th is Hudson Valley Philharmonic,
Yes.
and the 22nd is the Strawberry Hill Fiddlers and Stringendo.
Yes. All incredibly talented musicians, and so excited to be partnering with us in this endeavor. So,
I have to interrupt. Amy has a
do.
great question that I have to answer.
Yes.
Is Rascal coming back? Rascal has not only received his tetanus shot, he has received his vaccination, and Rascal will be here at Dutchess Stadium. You'll be seeing him here.
Rascal. will be-
Important stuff. I mean,
That
I'm a
is
big
very
Rascal fan
important,
myself.
very important.
Let's keep going. We got Veterans Camping Weekend at Wilcox,
We
right?
do. Veterans Camping Weekend. It's a wonderful collaboration with our Veterans Services Division, Mental Health America, and our Vet-to-Vet program in Dutchess County. And it is active duty military personnel and their families and veterans, of course, can come and camp half price at Wilcox Park. A lot of upgrades we're doing and some surprises we have going on up at the campground. So we'll
Now,
be sharing
these
that.
surprises are things that happen in the middle of the night, or are they?
Well, no.
I mean, like,
The people who have
scare
been coming
people?
and people who have been coming and camping will be surprised. So that's the surprise, and we're excited for our returners to see some of the improvements we've made to the bathhouse and just some new horseshoe bits and some family games and just some an exciting rebirth, if you will.
I can't wait. I'm going to be out here for for the opening of that weekend, right? I think we're coming out to Wilcox, and I don't think folks realize, Wilcox has a huge following. We've been out, my family and I mean, obviously I know about it, but we've been out on
Yes.
Memorial Day, 4th of July weekends, Father's Day, Mother's Day. It's packed, just
It is
packed.
packed.
Yeah.
Mostly, it is just like a really, I shouldn't say mostly because we have a variety of users, but the big driving force up at Wilcox is that disc golf course.
Yeah.
And we are working toward being able to host a professional tier tournament. But we have a professional disc golfer who lives in the area. She golfs there regularly. She shares it out on social media. We love seeing Wilcox Disc Golf Course in the news and in that industry. So it is a sought-after course. So we're very, very proud of that. But in addition, we have a beautiful campground, and we have so many people who just love to come and enjoy the trails and just the absolute beauty of that of the grounds in the park.
So for those who don't know, Wilcox Park is on Route 199 in the town of Milan. Yes. Even though I think it has a Stanfordville address.
It does.
And it's close to the town of Red Hook. It's very confusing.
It is confusing.
But as a Red Hooker myself, I know exactly where it is.
But once you find it, I tell you, it is a treasure, and so much to enjoy there. So, and that's where we hosted our first Illumination Weekend drive-through last year.
Are we going to do it again?
We are doing it again.
We got to work on the traffic.
We are doing it again. Yes, we do.
Yeah, we have to work on the traffic. Somehow we got to get people in and out a little bit quicker.
Yes.
But we live and learn. It was beautifully done. And I think everyone had a great time.
They did, and they're looking forward to it. So
and I think actually the Dutchess County Fairgrounds might be doing something similar to that next winter too, so you could visit both while you're up in Northern Dutchess.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to interrupt you. Since I mentioned the fairgrounds, we should mention that the expectation is that we're going to have the Dutchess County Fair this year.
Very excited
so,
about that.
of course, the fairgrounds is a private, not-for-profit run by the Agricultural Society. Andy and Vicky Imperati are in essence, Andy's the manager of the fairgrounds, but the county, of course, has a great deal of involvement with them, and of course, we're working with them to get open safely. So we expect to have the fair. You should expect to have the fair, and I will be selling milkshakes.
I will be excited to see you there. We're hoping to have a Dutchess County Parks table at the fair this year.
Good,
so
good.
we're really
Please do.
trying to plan on that.
I think it's great.
And I am actually a member of the Ag Society, so I get some of the inner conversations about the fair, and I know that they are beyond excited and emotional and grateful to be welcoming the fair back.
I have only missed 2 opening days. My office knows this really well of the fair. Only 2 opening days since 1994. Once I was on vacation, and of course the other was last year. So I'm looking forward to reestablishing the tradition and seeing hundreds of thousands of our friends and neighbors there.
Yes.
So you're also doing a little bit of work. I know you work with Adam Roach at Veterans Services, and that's really one of our partners with Veterans, our camping weekend. But around that time is also, of course, Memorial Day, where we'll pause to recognize those that lost their lives in service. And this year we're back to a more traditional Memorial Day weekend. Walkway illumination. So this is something that actually Nelson Rivera, who was the director of Veterans Services some years ago, worked to establish. This is the evening before Memorial Day, Sunday evening before Memorial Day, an illumination ceremony at Walkway over the Hudson. And of course, Walkway has taken sort of responsibility for that, working with the local veterans community. So that'll be on May the 30th, Sunday, May the 30th. And then we're going to be right back to the traditional ceremony, 11 a.m., I assume, on Monday, May the 31st at the Dutchess County War Memorial, which, of course, we took ownership of only a few years ago, and we're responsible for. So are you working with Adam to make sure that's nice and pretty? Does the parks?
We got it under control.
Do you? Okay.
We do. No
I don't
worries.
want to say anything, but there's been some times in the past where they put in some plastic flowers because they thought that looked nice, and I don't. I'm not a big fan of plastic flowers.
Nor am I.
Okay, good.
We'll make sure. We will make sure there's no plastic flowers.
Okay, well, so we appreciate it. And anything else folks should know about parks?
Well, I just want to mention we're piloting an adaptive archery program, which is very, very exciting for us. One of the first things we're going to be putting out very soon. We also are doing adult survival program this year for the first time. They'll have an overnight component. We have paint palette and nature e-book classes that were added to our naturalist programming, and we're launching for the first time an adult paint program at Quiet Cove.
Oh, nice.
And the last thing with Quiet Cove, a wonderful partnership with the Poughkeepsie Public Library District.
Yeah.
We will be putting up a pop-up library at Quiet Cove so people can read a digital book while they're enjoying that beautiful view.
Oh,
and
great.
It's just
Quiet Cove is my second favorite park.
It's a special place for sure.
It depends on the time of year.
Yes.
So that's great. So adult survival, do we just drop people off in the woods and let them?
We don't leave them on their own. No, they actually follow our program that the youth do. We piloted it last year. It was incredibly successful, and people were very happy to participate in that. And it's under Dave Beck is our senior naturalist, and he leads them through all of the different elements of the survival program. You have to go through Survival 1 in order to be in Survival 2 for the overnight experience. So it's pretty exciting.
It's good stuff. So when folks want to find out what's going on at Dutchess County Parks, where do they go?
they go to duchessny.gov/parks.
duchessny.gov/parks, and you are on social media too.
We are on Facebook, so follow us on Facebook. We post an awful lot of wonderful, obviously news and updates, but great photos,
Great.
progress reports throughout the week.
Well, I have nothing but compliments. We're very grateful, all of us, to you, to Suzanne, and to the entire Parks Division, all of the great men and women who work at Department of Public Works, who really all work together to make sure we have great, award-winning county parks.
Yes, it's a wonderful team.
And
Glad to be part of it.
before you jump out, we're moving forward, right, with the design of the Loop Trail at the Lake Walton Preserve, our newest park, largest expansion of county parks in 50 years, I think, in East Fishkill, and the design work of the Urban Trail. Is that what we're calling it? The Poughkeepsie Urban Trail, and that's going to be designed, and that's the extension to and connection to the Duchess Rail Trail Network. So we're very excited about that.
Yes, wonderful. I get to sit in on those committees and be a little voice from the Parks Department for that design. There's a lot of great minds coming together for those projects. It's a really exciting time for parks in Dutchess County.
It is.
Yeah.
So, well, we appreciate it. I'll let you get back to work.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks
Sandy.
for the support.
Okay, well,
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you. So we'll get through a few more questions. I also want to mention the Office for the Aging doing a great amount of work. Yes, we're still, we're doing a little bit of our hybrid Office for the Aging events. Still, we want to be certain, of course, that we take consideration for the health of our most vulnerable, and seniors, of course, we want to be sensitive to. But as we transition back to normal, we have a few events that we're still focused from a vehicle-based perspective. Office for the Aging is hosting again 3 drive-in bingo events. We've got one on May 7th at Bowden Park in Poughkeepsie, one on May 11th at Freedom Park in the town of LaGrange, and one on May 18th at the Stanford Rec Park. And if you'd like to register, you can call 845-486-2555, 845-486-2555. Michael asks, Colleen, will there be fireworks at some Dutchess County parks or fairgrounds for the 4th of July? Sandy, are we doing fireworks? Did I convince you to do fireworks? Hey, hold on, Michael. I'm bringing Sandy back. Sandy,
I'm hopping back in.
what are we planning for the 4th of July, Sandy? Because I love fireworks.
We've heard that. I've been made well aware of your fondness for fireworks. So we had a plan A, but we're kind of changing that date a little
great.
bit to a plan B.
Okay,
So
what's plan B?
fireworks are in the works, but I don't know that I can release all of the exact
Okay.
details just yet because we haven't got it all worked out with our partners.
So we expect that some of the traditional locations will have fireworks events again.
We are
But because
expecting
we
that.
had so much fun last year, and we did, honestly, it was
It was a
it was
wonderful
really
event.
kind of
It
fun. I
really
hope it
was.
wasn't too much work for the team, but it seemed like a nice sort of low impact community way to get together. So it does sound to me like you have been appropriately convinced to have some sort of fireworks activity at one of our parks, or maybe in partnership with the fairgrounds, but you're working it out.
We are working it out.
So people should get ready for an announcement, but there might be a bang in our future.
There might be a bang in our future.
Okay, there you go, Michael.
Should be
That's the
excited
answer.
about that.
That's the answer. I'll let you go
Stay tuned.
back. I'll let
Stay
you go
tuned.
back. Very nice. Thank you for that. So I went through the Office for the Aging. I want to mention our next Mark at the Parks is scheduled for June the 2nd. Are we at Bowden? We don't know yet. We don't. We're going to surprise you, just like the fireworks. We're going to be scheduled for Wednesday, June 2nd at 3 p.m. Now, weather permitting, we may be open to public attendance. So our goal is to transition a little bit to have residents join us at town hall meetings. We'll announce that as we can. We'll start outdoors and then continue this effort of doing some less than regular. So my expectation, just so you're here, is we're going to get through the month of May with our weekly updates. I think as we move into June, we're going to try to limit those a little bit more. Not a lot new information, just to give you some updated information. So the likelihood is as we transition into June, we'll likely have 2 scheduled town hall meetings, and then when we need to, we'll get back together. But as we start to transition to our public town hall meetings, as I said, June the 2nd will be at one of our county parks. And you'll be invited to attend and ask questions right with us. And we'll get to back to something more traditional in feeling. Camille asks, when do you predict all Dutchess County will be vaccinated? Well, I predict that we will never have 100% vaccination. That is the choice of individuals. But we are moving ever closer to this magic number, if you will, of this concept of herd immunity. Now that takes some time. It's not just being vaccinated, it's also weakening the virus and having some personal immunity to it. Just like the flu, we have generalized herd immunity to the flu. There will be this transition over time. I suspect that we are going to get to about 70% vaccinated as a state, and as maybe some places will be higher, some will be a little bit lower, but I suspect that we'll be at about 70% over the summer, and that will be treated as success. There's never going to be a situation where everyone chooses to be vaccinated, and it isn't entirely necessary for that to happen. We want people to choose. We want to get to as many people as possible to choose to be vaccinated, and then of course as more of society gets vaccinated, we accelerate this concept of herd immunity, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. I always prefer when Dr. Wythian talks about it. As an infectious disease doctor or commissioner of health, certainly can speak to it from his own professional experience and study. Barbara asks, what time are the drive-in bingos? They are at 1 p.m. Drive-in bingo is at 1 p.m. Zenta asks or mentions this. I know an important community chicken who would try her bird best to throw out a first pitch. The mayor is your chick. Today, this is kind of comical, but really special. So, you ready for this? How do you say chicken? Chicken? Over the course of the last 16 months, we have all tried to find ways to stay hopeful, to have a little laugh, to inspire one another. In the city of Beacon, there was an orphaned chicken who was taken in by a very generous family, and that orphaned chicken has become the unofficial mayor of Beacon, the Beacon Hood chicken. And by the way, she has the comb on her head, and so some people think that she's a male rooster. She is not. She is a chicken. She lays eggs. And she has been a little bit of fun and a little bit of inspiration to folks really throughout the Southern Dutchess area. And she and her family have donated books and baskets of cheer and little gifts to families and kids, and have really provided some fun on social media. It turns out she has the hots for me. That's what she said. I'm just saying. Apparently she likes me a lot, but nevertheless, I thought that it'd be really nice to recognize her. So Mayor Lee Kiriakou and I, the Beacon Mayor, the official Beacon, the real Beacon Mayor, Lee Kiriakou and I visited with the Beacon Hood chicken today, and I appointed her the very first, the only in the entire nation, poultry laureate. She is the official poultry laureate of Dutchess County, bringing exceptional goodwill and generosity to families throughout Dutchess. And if you want to find her on social media, look for B. Con Hood Chicken, I think, something like that. It's like B. Con Hood. So anyway, look for her online, the official poultry laureate. So Steve Gleiner was here, the general manager, but I have already discussed it. We will absolutely have a Beacon Hood Chicken Day at Dutchess Stadium, and we will have the chicken, Beacon, chicken, throw out a pitch or do something. I don't know how she'll do that. She'll roll an egg. We have too much fun at these. We're going to be live with you again we will be live with you again on June the 2nd from one of our Dutchess County parks. We invite you to join us. We'll get an invite out so that you can join us in person, or you can join us online. We'll do a little bit of this and celebrate another one of our great county parks. And with that, really want to thank you for joining us today at Dutchess Stadium. Look forward to seeing you at next week's Hudson Valley Renegades home opener, the newest New York Yankees affiliate, right here at the great Dutchess County Park, Dutchess Stadium. In the meantime, stay healthy, be strong, and be kind to each other.